Hey YouTube, Mark Hoffman here, and today I'm just going to finally get to the point where I'm going to make this video for JT. And I noticed that he was trying to downsize in his collection, or at least talk himself into selling a few of his prized knives and things like that. And I just wanted to give him a little bit of guidance or advice, or just talk to him and maybe even talk to y'all about why it's important to let go of things and why it's also important to hold on to things. So for me, I've been trying to sell this for about 3 or so weeks, 2 weeks, decided not to do it. Okay, it's too perfect of a knife. I feel like it will stick around in my collection and it will be used quite a bit. And so I decided not to sell it. Now, one of the things I have finally realized with my collection is I have 2 types of knives. And I finally realized this after collecting knives for about 6 years. And I want a knife that would be able to stick around and will be able to be serviced, repaired, or even have a part made for it easily. Like these are probably easily found. I don't know, just something that can be serviced easily or sent back to the company and repaired easily. These I don't think will have any problems hardware wise in 20 years. But let's say something happens and I need to have this serviced, then I can just send it to the company. Now, if I have a knife that maybe is just for show, okay, and I don't use it. It's something that, like, I've got a weird blade shape and I've got a weird grind, and I'm just like, I bought it just for kind of show. That would be something I would be selling. If I was JT and I was looking at my collection, I would sell that. I'd be like, I'm not really using that. The other part of my collection is stuff like this. Cheap. If it goes south, I just throw it away. I'm not worried about it, okay? And that's what I'm going to do with something like this. I'm not going to try and replace these screws. I did replace the washers, but that was just personal preference. They originally were Teflon washers, but for me, I would be looking at these knives that I just kind of have stockpiled. They're like 30, 40, 60, 70 bucks. And I'm like wondering, are those really going to be sticking around, or do I just have them as filler, And I would be looking at my filler knives and I'd be like, sell those off, These knives here, just a few that I grabbed, but they are knives that I will definitely be keeping in my collection long term. And just for JT, I would think, look, think about the long term, okay? What knives do you want long term? And if you don't want the knives that are not long term knives, like this one, I would be selling them off. I mean, I would think about, okay, well, do I use it? Okay, if I use it, then keep it. I use this one. I kept it. But I had a lot of filler knives that I did not use. And so I sold them. I sold them in knife lots on eBay. People have been asking me, how do you sell your knives successfully? Look, I lose about 20 bucks with the whole knife lot that I create. And that's fine with me, okay? With the eBay fees, PayPal fees, and then shipping, I lose about $20 to $30. But I get the majority of my money back, okay? You can do that too, JT, if you want. You can just put a video up on YouTube, or you can put a sale on eBay. But I would be thinking about what is going to be long-term, reliable, durable, usable, versus something that's filler or disposable or cheaply made. Like, let's say, for example, you have a CRKT Pilar and you're sitting there like, well, I don't really use it. I just like it for the ergonomics. Well, I would probably just sell it, okay? because that's a $30 knife that you can just sell and then you drop down your collection. Now, the other thing you can do is just put all the money that you get from your knives into a pot. And then, let's say you sell enough, you can get a Chris Reeves Sebenza. There you go. You got a knife that will be long-term, usable, and reliable, and serviceable. I'm not sure if I said serviceable already, but that, I think, is where you could look regarding downsizing your collection. But the reason why it's also important to let go of things that you don't use or don't need is because then what's important is you are holding on to things that are usable and important. Like this one here, this ZT, I had been hunting for almost 4 years. I did not want to pay the full retail price. I actually got this from a buddy of mine from Instagram, and he gave me a stupid deal on this thing, and it came with a titanium lynch clip. So I'm happy with that. And so I said to myself, I'm very happy to pay that. But that's something I want to have around. I feel like ZT may be discontinuing this in maybe a couple of years. They may do something with this. So, and plus I love the scales. I know there are a lot of people that don't like this vomit green, but I love the scales. So I think that that's important, is to look at stuff that you would be able to hold on to and say, I'm never going to pay that money again for something like this, because it either hurt or because it is something that you only wanted to buy once. Like this here, I bought two. I bought one for a giveaway, and then I bought one for myself. And I'm holding on to this. I'm not selling this. This is going to be something that I want to have in 20 years. So, you know, I want to have stuff that will last and be reliable. Of course, you can try to make that $30 knife last forever, but it's not. I mean, this is just coming from my perspective. It's not worth it. I'd much rather try to keep holding on to this because it's either discontinued or it's reliable, versus a knife that has a really crappy steel or construction. Now, of course, everybody has a different price bracket that their knives are in. Sometimes people cannot afford $200 plus knives. And for me, I've been blessed enough to do this and purchase these. But if you're somebody that a $60 knife is your highest end, then that's something that you see as a reliable tool. You may not see a $10 knife as a reliable tool. This one, it does the job. You know, I'm not going to be prying with it or anything like that, especially since it's a slip joint. But it does the job, but it's definitely not something I want to have in 10 years. If I do, well, hey, look, it survived. But that is maybe something that might help you look at your collection differently and just maybe say to yourself, what do I want to have around and what don't I want to have around? Now, of course, there are knives that you appreciate the design with, but design only goes so far. Let's say you have, I mean, heck, even that weird artisan you had, JT, on your sale post with the weird, I mean, it had a blade that was like this. It was like boom and then boop. Don't even know the name of it, but that looked highly dysfunctional to me. That was just a show knife. I would never use that. And he was selling that one, probably for good reason. And I don't know the reasoning why he had that knife. But at least for me, I'm buying stuff that right now is functional in my life that I can use. Whoop, trying to get that front flip. There we go. That I can use. And maybe you could think of it that way. You know, your knife collection is something you want to use and something that's going to be reliable and usable versus something that is going to be disposable. So just my thoughts. I mean, I'm just kind of rambling and just kind of throwing my ideas out there, but that's how I'm actually going about my collection. And downsizing is just, what do I want to have that's usable? What do I want to have that's going to be reliable? What is going to be serviceable in 20 years? I'm pretty sure Spyderco could take good care of this knife in 20 years. I'm quite sure Viper could take care of this knife. And if not, I could probably call up Rick Hinderer on his company and see if they could make something. I don't know. You know, I'm not a wizard. That'd be pretty cool. But you could also send this to another knife maker and he could probably replicate these screws. So just a thought, you know, just an idea. And JT, if you like my ideas or my thoughts here, give me a response in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about it. But also, you guys, if you do see JT selling a knife, hop on it. Reliable guy, great guy, good person, great to deal with. Buy his stuff when he decides to sell it, because he's a wonderful person to deal with. And we all want to sell stuff, you know, and it really is a bummer when you have stuff that's for sale and it just doesn't move. You know, it kind of can make you feel like it's not worth anything, or it can make you feel like I made a mistake. And I hate it when I feel that way. So if he's selling something and you're able to buy it and he's got it for a good price, hit him up. Let him know. So guys, thank you again. Just throwing a few ideas out there. And if you like this video, let me know in the comments. And JT, good luck with downsizing your collection. I know it's going to be a tough process, but think about certain ways you can justify the downsize, because it is hard to let go, but it's important to let go. So guys, thank you again for joining me on this video. I hope you guys have a great day or night wherever you may be.